witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Onyx Storm. I about said Onyx Flame. Incorrect. Part 5.
Yeah. We're going to start with chapter 29.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so, fuck Halden. They're talking about Violet's talking about how he's a liability.
He really is, though. And the quicker they figure that out, the better it is.
Yeah. Which I feel like it's in this chapter, right? Yeah.
That they're... What
Eric,
the fuck is that?
or Cam, comes out and is like, nope, I'm going to be going as the representative for Navarre, not you. Goodbye.
Thank God, Cam. So Cam finally shows his true colors, essentially. It's like, hello, here I am, your long-lost brother.
Yes.
And his threat at the end of this, Halden, as you would suspect, fucking threatens them.
Yeah. Because Mira's like, he could have let you think he was dead, and he's gonna be when our father hears. And Eric's like, fuck off and tell him. Or don't. I really don't care.
I have a dragon and you don't, bitch.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, his threat at the end of the chapter is honestly kind of terrifying.
Wait, where? Oh. Wait,
at the end of it.
When he's like...
So, he's like, oh, fuck. Okay, I guess it's not at the end of the chapter. But they are... at the end of the section, I guess. So on page 256, he goes, because everyone's like, oh, well, that was awkward. And Xaden looks to Halden and goes, I'm sure you know your way off the flight field. And Halden lowers his voice slowly and looks Violet's way. Goes, Violet, the plea in his eyes hit me straight in the chest. I won't let anything happen to him, I promise. And then Halden nods once and says, I'll hold you to it. And he looks at each of us in turn, and the promise morphs into a threat, all of you. So if one thing happens to Eric or Cam, they're all liable for his death.
Yeah. And, I mean, Halden is the prince, so, like, he has the sway to do something about it.
The ability, yeah.
Then page 257, there's some Taryn and Andarna banter that makes me giggle because Andarna, they get close to... Where are they going? They're going to Deveroni again.
Yeah, because they're getting ready to fly to the Isle of Dune.
Yeah, and he's like, do not lose out. She unclips from her little saddle thing. And he's like, do not lose altitude. There's no telling what weaponry the arms the merchant vessels beneath us. And she goes, do you ever tire of your own voice? And he says, never. And she goes to fly next to Sigale, and it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, because she's like, going over here.
Then, I got a weird, feeling from Mira here before we find out where she was. But, like, I was like, is she betraying them? Like, what's happening?
Same. Because I don't know how to think. Her entire persona throughout all of this was like, I'm sticking with my sister. I'm sticking to what's right. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But then all of a sudden, she's like away on leave. And things just get weird between them.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want to share any information. It's like she learned something that is detrimental to like possibly their relationship, and she's trying her hardest not to give any information out, but it's why? Like what?
Yeah, it's really weird. And I was like, she better not be fucking betraying them, because
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Well, and then we find out that she went to go visit her grandma or their grandmother, but it's not like the grandmother that you would suspect, the one that would have all of the good like I feel no offense to Lilith, but I feel like they are a very matriarchal type family.
Yeah.
Whatever Lilith wanted, Lilith got. Lilith wanted to keep her last name as Sorengale, she got it. Lilith cut off the family on the father's side, she got that. Like that's like the kind of vibe I get from her. So when they say, "Oh, I went and visited grandmother," she's like, "Why would you fly all the way here to visit this grandma?" And she goes, "Not that one."
Right, to visit a grave, basically, she says.
Yeah. She went and visited her dad's mother.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Violet's like, "What? Excuse me? You didn't say anything to me. You didn't do this." And then all of a sudden Mira's like, "Well, you have to go see her yourself."
Yeah.
Which,
What's happening? Like, what's going on? What?
why? Like what? But here's the
Yeah.
thing. We learn a little bit about I guess the Isle of Dune, and like we learn a little bit about them, I guess. And of course we're all being guided by her father's journals throughout his adventures throughout all of the isles. I wonder if he went on this pilgrimage not only for knowledge, but because he is partially from one of these islands.
I wondered that too.
Maybe his mother hailed from an island, specifically one that we're going to see in this chapter.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, maybe information or something. I don't know. And it's something that Mira doesn't feel like she should share. But I think there's more to Asher than
Yeah.
we all realize.
I would agree. I don't think he's alive, but I think there's more to it.
Well, and he's always talking about the seventh breed, or he's always talking about something, and
Yeah.
he knows so much about these isles. It's like,
Sir?
how do you know so much about these isles? Like, I feel like your mother, like, unless you grew up there, and I'm not saying like he is a scribe, so like he could very well
Have grown
have
up
learned
on,
all
yeah.
of this information in a short amount of time. But I also feel like there is some things for etiquette on, I don't know, on certain isles that he knows about that you wouldn't know unless you like lived there for an X amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you
I
can
would
pick up a
agree.
few things from Deverelli, or you could pick up a few things from here or there, but I think it is crucial to think that maybe he came from the Isle of Dune.
Yeah. We'll see. The end of this chapter, they have a real diplomatic meeting with the people from this island.
Unreal.
Yeah, they're asleep. Which Umbriel is like a combat militaristic kind of island. Like all of these islands have like themes.
Yeah.
It's like a Harry Potter house.
I think this is the one that I thought Isle of Dune or something like that, because don't they worship somebody? Malik?
Yeah, I think so. It's not Malik. I think,
Is it Dune?
I don't know. Isle of Dune, yeah.
Okay.
So they're asleep because they have made camp on this island, and all of a sudden Taryn wakes up Violet, and then this guy's like, it was a mistake to come. Your magic won't help you here. And Xaden's like, that's fine. We brought blades, and takes a Violet's dagger and puts it to the guy's neck.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
a
was
way
like, well,
to.
that's a diplomatic start. But honestly, like, once we learn more about this island, I'm like, okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense. Like,
that is how they
which
fight.
we do learn more in chapter 30. But Sigale in chapter 30 is hilarious.
I think honestly, what's his name? Um, Dane had a great moment on 263. Dane has been preparing nonstop for for all of these
languages.
visits and languages and being like a translator for them. And nothing is more annoying. Nothing is more fucking annoying than practicing and spending all of your time doing something that you're obviously not like, you don't have time for this, but you're going to do it anyways because it's going to help you to find out you didn't even fucking need it. He spent so much time trying to be a translator for this island, and the person they talked to was like, I speak the common language. That's why I was picked for this thing. And Dan goes, love wasting my time. Cool.
Yeah. Yep. And
Like,
then
we've all been there.
And Darna's like, my family. So they realize that these people have never seen dragons.
Yeah, with the way they act.
Yeah, and then Darna's
because
getting,
they're peeing themselves.
Yeah. And Darna's
Biddy.
Darna is getting like frustrated, and Violet can't shield here, so she's like, please be careful with your
anger.
Yeah, feelings. But then they're like arguing back and forth about whether or not they're going to get to see the queen, and he's like, no, you're not. And they're like, okay, but we are. And Sigale
Too bad. I've already decided it.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, but defeating your best in combat earns us entrance to court at the defeated opponent's rank. And the captain's like, you know our laws. And he's like, she does, and I'm with her, talking about Violet. And then he goes, and seeing as I've already had my blade at your throat, I'm guessing that means we should move up to someone with a higher skill set. And then the captain's like, the fire breathers stay, talking about the dragons. And Sigale, like, snaps at a soldier and gets close enough that she, like, blows the woman's hair. And Xaden said, she said to get fucked. And I'm like, yes.
She is such a sassy mama. It's so funny. And it's so okay, if they were humans, her and Taryn, she would be the one that would be like, I don't give a fuck, do whatever the hell you want, just don't fuck with me. And then Taryn is like, do something that is appropriate.
Yeah.
He's like because on the next page, Violet goes, I don't like you being this close to those bolts, which, okay, fair, got it. He goes, I don't like your selection of mates, yet here we are. It's like, damn. Okay, first of all, we're talking about your life here. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
What do my mates have to do with anything?
Well, I mean, technically right now.
And Halden.
Yeah.
And Dane in the first book. He's such a dad, though.
He really
He'd be the worrywart.
But they're talking about, like, she keeps saying they're inside the walls. And I'm like, what's inside the walls?
I think people? I think they landed on, like, a parapet of sorts that goes down into, like, a fortress.
Right. So like she keeps it. Oh, okay.
So like
Like
they're
there's a wall
inside.
around it.
Yeah, they're
I was
on
thinking
that wall.
inside the
They're
walls,
inside.
like inside the wall, like in between this wall and the outside of the house.
I think so, actually.
Okay.
So like,
Kind
when
of
you're
like the
walk
Great Wall of China, like how it's like really wide and there's like an
yeah, and
inside.
then there's like doors at specific parts of the Great Wall that you can go inside to. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like the idea. It's like the wall that's built around the city, and you can go inside and you can either go straight out or you can go down,
In
and
between.
then
Okay.
yeah.
I was really confused when I was reading it. Like I was so confused that I wrote it down.
I was tired when I read this and I was like, am I making sense of this? So then I had to go back later and like make sure I was correct.
Yeah. Um and then Violet they walk out into the like stadium basically, or coliseum for lack of a better word. And all of the attendants on the temple steps have silver hair.
Yeah. There's some with silver hair and there's one girl with hair like Violet's.
Yeah,
Part
it's like half and
silver.
half.
Yeah. So which is what I'm thinking, because she obviously Mira knew that they were going to be flying to Umbriel.
Yeah.
She's got to know something that like no one else knows.
Yeah.
Because how
Like,
would
are we
she
gonna
know to go?
find out that that's her like cousin or something?
Yeah, because it's like how would you know to? First of all, how would you know to go talk to your grandmother during all of this? You've been estranged for years, regardless of who cut off who. Like you haven't talked to them forever. You just like making your peace because you might die, like, or warning her, or
Something
like what
weird.
is it? And then now you're being secretive and like you could have. I get it, you want to be leave, but the fact that she didn't say anything, that's where she's going to make her peace or whatever, even if that is the reason.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me. If you were just making your peace, you could have said something. Like that's not as important as lying or, not saying anything at all. But the silver hair,
Yeah.
what if Theophany came from here, wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be better, wanted a dragon, decided she was going to go to the continent and found something better, and became who she is now?
Maybe.
Because she makes comments about like always being power hungry, or like the way she words things is there's always these ways, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
So like maybe realizing the power she could have brought her.
Yeah. Reading the blurb for chapter 31 makes a lot more sense now that I've read chapter 31.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything about it because I didn't in my notes, but now that I'm rereading it, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck does that say? Oh,
But
apparently on page 271, they were stressing me out.
this
Oh,
whole
Eric.
this whole thing was stressing me out, and honestly, I like at the end of it all, I was like, damn, what the
Yeah,
fuck? Because there was just a lot going on, and
there
I
was.
also just I don't know what was going I don't know what was going on. People were talking in, I swear to God, tongues to me while I was reading this
Yeah.
chapter. I was like, am I high? Am I too tired to understand anything? Is my mind just completely blank? Because I had to read everything all over again. I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
No, I had to reread a lot of this too. This was confusing because so much happens in such a short time and there's like so many people.
Yeah, and it's like 1 minute where there it's like an older I don't want to call her a sage, but like an older priestess in a way. So
Yeah.
like a higher up priestess. and then somebody else is there, and then there's 3 fighters, and then like the 3 fighters say something, and then the priestess says something, and then one of our crew says something, and then the priestess, and then somebody else, and then somebody else. And I was like, why are you talking in riddles to her? Like,
yeah. I really wrote down, am I the only one who was hella confused?
yeah.
But I was cracking up on page 271 because Eric just busts out in fluent Umbriel or Umbrish or whatever they call it. And Dane is like, are you fucking kidding me?
Dane is trying so fucking hard. And it's so funny because they're all like,
it's like, why am I even here?
Yeah. And it's great though, because if not, like Mira was there. Mira would have gone. Or no,
Yeah.
Garrick would have gone. Garrick would have gone
Yeah.
over Dane. And if we didn't ask,
Bitch.
well, this would have caused a lot of things.
Oh my gosh. And so they talk him out of fighting. And they're like, Xaden's gonna fight. But then it ends up being Xaden
And Dane.
and Dane.
This is where I got confused, because I was like, best 2 out of 3. Okay, cool. What? So they're gonna do 2 fights instead of 3, and like what?
No,
And
they
then
did 3.
I was, yeah. Well, and then I was really confused too, because then I was like, okay, so what made them do the secondary one if Dane was gonna, or if Xaden was gonna do something? And then I was like, okay, what? And then all of a sudden the priestess comes around and goes, oh, what does she say?
She says, so be it. Our goddess teaches us that while battles may be won by the strongest warriors, they may also be lost by our weakest. Both must be tested today. Is that what you meant?
Mm-hmm.
And then the way that you enter into these battles is she fucking slices your fucking arm open.
Yeah. And then what really just confused everything was when she was like, yeah, she goes, tell me, did you choose this path yourself? The priestess asked. And she goes, my mother. And then she was like, no, I chose my life. She goes, then it is good we did not complete your dedication.
And I'm wondering if that's why her hair isn't full silver. Because she was, from the blurb, it says, that her father, or maybe her grandmother, maybe that's why Mira's being so weird, because her grandmother knew about it, dedicated her to Dune. That's why her hair is part silver, but they never went through and finished it, so that's why it's not all the way silver, maybe. I don't know, I'm totally spitballing, but it makes sense.
That makes sense, though, because the parents ended up saying no to them.
Right. And is that
not
why
no. But yeah, I was gonna say, the parents straight up was like, we're done with you, goodbye.
Yeah.
But it was everyone was under the assumption that it was actually the grandmother that stopped talking to them, but it turns out it wasn't.
Yeah. So, like, did the grandmother dedicate her?
Maybe. See, I was
and
too
that's
confused.
why Mira's being so weird now, too, but
I was so confused during all of this. I didn't catch that. That is so smart. What? Dude. Yeah, she was like, my what? And then she goes, what kind of drugs do they provide in the temple here? Because the priestess looks like she's on drugs.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but do you not yearn for temple? Usually the torch creates such longing that you can't help but return. Or perhaps you now favor another god. She glances up at Taryn, ignoring my outburst. And then my eyes slide to Xaden. I still see us among your potential past should you decide to take it. Dune will accept you. It is not too late to choose her. Why didn't I think that? Why didn't I fucking think that?
I don't know. That's what I wrote that on my notes. I was like, so between that and the blurb, someone volunteered Violet to be touched by Dune, the goddess of war.
And then she's like, I choose him, talking about Xaden or Taryn. Either way, the answer is still the same. She goes, so be it. Our goddess teaches that while battles may be won by the strongest warriors, they may also be lost by our weakest. Both must be tested today. And then she slices Violet's arm open. And then she goes, my blood. Looks like I get to fight after all. And that is the end of chapter 31.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
The chapter
dedication.
32. I had a lot to say.
I didn't. So you say your piece, I'll say the end.
Okay. So I was like, I just feel like something fucking wild is about to happen. Like, because they're all, and Darna's freaking out, Eric freaks out, they all freak out.
Yeah, because she wasn't supposed to fight.
Right. Something wild does happen, but I'm not there yet. On page 277, she is fighting this girl named Malice. I don't fucking know. Marlice?
Oh, I've been calling her Malice.
Well, I like that too. And she's like, this is just a challenge. And so she starts fighting and she hears her rib crack. And I was like, I swear to God, if pain management is her signet, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And then 279, she's got this bitch in like a tap out situation. She's like, yield. And I'm like, no, fucking kill her. Like, at this time, I'm pissed. Like, I'm worked up, I'm reading, and I'm pissed. And I'm just like, kill her. Anyway, she doesn't because she's Violet.
She, like, scares her, though.
She does.
Well, okay, we can't confirm that she, in fact, scared her, but something happened.
Yeah.
And it scared... What if it's like Mufasa? It's like her mother in the afterlife.
I don't know what any.
She did storms.
Like the storms, maybe. I don't.
And
think
like
so,
the storms coming in.
No. So no, I was like, is that her second signet that she can like create her own magic? She can access magic from anywhere. Like, did she just channel? Like, what just happened? But there's nothing to channel from.
Right. And so I first thought, I was like, oh my God, was that her? Like, was she the lightning strike? Did she channel? Like, what did she channel from? It's not like she has any of the stuff.
Right.
And she would have felt it. And I feel like Taryn would have said something. Something would have been done.
Right.
But if she did, in fact, use magic without using magic, I mean, okay, if your theory that she was dedicated to Dune as a child, whatever, and that's why her... and to like make things easier or whatever, they said that you're just weak, which fuck, she might have weak
joints
bones.
and shit, but like, yeah.
I mean, like, she might have legitimately had these issues. Maybe that's why they didn't complete the dedication, because she was born with that. Probably think so. A boo boo. Yeah. So like, what if she was, because like maybe she was dedicated prior to that, and when she was born they found out she actually had something that like caused her to become weak, and then they're sitting there saying like, oh, that's why you have yellow hair or white or silver hair, it's because of this disease. But like, what if it actually was this, and maybe her being on the Isle of Dune or Umbriel made her able to like access the powers of Dune.
It also, thinking about that, remember how much her mom hated that her hair was silver and how annoyed she would get every time she saw her silver hair? That makes a lot more sense now too.
Yeah.
Especially if it was the grandmother that did it.
If you're leaving, leave. Thank you.
And now I'm on page 280, which I'm guessing is where your comment is. But we learned who Marlis is on page 280.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Marla, one of the like attendants is like checking on her, and she's like, I said I'm fine, and they're like, yes, Your Majesty,
and we're like, what?
And Violet's
the
like,
queen?
Oh no! Please tell me I did not just hold a blade to the throat of the Queen of Umbriel. Like, what? And then something else happens.
And it's so funny because she's like,
Oh,
I only speak to those who best me. I like she doesn't care about power. She doesn't care about um okay, not power in terms of strength, but like power in terms of title. Like she doesn't give a shit about titles. She doesn't give a shit about anything other than um like being able to show your worth.
yeah.
So she's not talking to anybody but Violet because Violet bested her.
I also just had a theory pop into my head, which happens sometimes, like when we start talking about these things. Um, so Violet's like, I didn't do that because the queen's like, how did you make that lightning strike? Or like, basically, how did you do that? She's like, I didn't do that. But do you think maybe it was Dune?
Maybe.
Like, maybe I don't
Yo,
know.
what if Theophany was dedicated to Dude and that's why she's so ruthless and like
Right?
a fighter?
Right. And that's why they both have lightning signets because they are dedicated to Dune. I don't know. Just spitballing. Um, but also, this bitch is like, we can't fight alongside you because I'm afraid the price is something you're unwilling to pay. And she's like, what do you want? At least tell me what your price is. And she said, the same thing everyone in the Isles craves: dragons. Why do these people think that they can give them dragons? Like, we can't do anything. Like, the dragons have to choose to come to you. We don't control them. Can't give you
Yeah.
them. And if we tried to take one of their eggs to give to you, we would die. So, like,
Well, and I think that's why she's like um I think that's what she said. I think I prefer a Deverelli approach to an alliance now. Um
yeah,
because like but as for fighting alongside you, I'm afraid the price is something you're unwilling to pay. I think it's because like they know it's not going to happen.
right,
But that like there's nothing in the world um there's nothing in the world that they could take
right,
that's like worth it, I guess.
yeah. Unrelated side quest, right quick. Couple of episodes ago, we were recording, and my dog decided he was going to start chilling on the sewing machine cabinet. That has
Mhm.
just become his spot. He's up there right now, looking out the window. I had to clear everything off of it because that's just his spot now. It's the weirdest shit, but it's fine. Anyway, chapter 33. um, they're now going to a new island. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Because instead of going back to tell them their update or whatever.
Yes. So they're telling, yeah, Mira and Garrick the update of like what
Yeah.
happened. And then they rest the griffins and everything and then leave. And then they're at the edge of they're at the capital of Hedotis? Hedotis?
I don't know.
Another island.
And this
And
is the island that she was looking most forward to because it's
yeah,
the island of knowledge.
yes. And they're all like Riddick is like, so this one's all you, right? You have to take some kind of question or test, answer a question. I feel like it's not going to be Violet though, just because that would be too obvious.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it's I honestly was like, okay, if they're going to go to a place of knowledge, they're going to force them to do something. And I was thinking like team-based work cuz like anyone can have knowledge, but like can you work as a team?
yeah, but they're not
Um
actually looking for knowledge. They're looking for like more like common sense, really.
yeah, like survivability kind of common
Yeah.
sense. Um, well, and here's the thing. During this whole part, like obviously the banter is phenomenal. We're having banter from everywhere. But there is
Always.
one there's one banter I want more of. I want more Drake and Mira.
Yes.
I think they would be the perfect enemies to lovers storyline. Like spin-off series, Rebecca, spin-off.
Yes, or at the very least, like a novella. Like, so give us something.
Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know if we even got like enough detail from when Brennan exonerated himself from Navarre and went to Orisha. I want that story too.
Yeah, and I would love, which we might get it in this book or the next book, in like flashbacks or something, but I would also love a prequel of Asher and Lilith.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah.
But we'll find out. I don't know. We might get that. We'll see. But I basically, for the most of this chapter, was like, I don't like this. Something is weird. This is sketchy.
Honestly, it just felt weird. Like the way they were describing it, and maybe that was the whole point. Maybe the whole point was the way things were being described to you. They wanted you to think something weird was happening and going on and to be prepared for something negative,
and then they drop a fucking bomb on us.
Yeah. 287, I was like, excuse me? What?
Yeah. She's who the fuck now?
Yeah, so they arrive to this island and they describe it as kind of like dullish colors, like pastel type colors. And not very colorful. It's very sand glass in a way, so very clear, milky kind of colors.
Yeah.
And they're walking up and there are three, I have no idea what they're called, but they're essentially three people, like governors in a way, that control all of this location.
The triumvirate, that's what they're called.
Yeah. And you have to pass their test, basically. So, okay. We meet one of them because the other two didn't want to walk down to the beach. We meet one of them, and that's who they're going to be staying with. And the like plot twist at the end of this really fucking confuses me for what's happening right now. So they show up, a woman is walking out with them, or like towards them with the guy, and Garrick, not Garrick, the guy's name is Ferris. He said, I apologize for my wife. Talia seems to be overcome by your magnificent dragons. I'm here, my love, Talia says. Everything looks the same as Xaden. Xaden immediately goes into some type of shock. Ferris is questioning everything, like, is there a problem? And Xaden's just petrified. He's a block of stone. And Garrett goes, oh, shit. And then Talia goes, Xaden? Is it really you? And then everyone's like, excuse me? Like,
fuck?
Eyebrows into the hairline, surprised. Xaden goes, Mom? Bitch, where have you been the last few years? It's been, what, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
Where the fuck have you been?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, too. He wraps his arm around Violet as if he knows something bad is going to happen. He wraps his arm protectively around Violet's hip as he says, Mom?
Yeah.
It's like, do you not, like, I understand not trusting her because, like, she left you, but also, like,
I wonder if he was, like, strengthening himself.
Possibly.
Maybe.
That could very well be it.
Or, like, presenting that united front kind of vibe.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of afraid of, like, what could happen in the future with everybody, because I feel like Xaden's gonna go, like, crazy Tamlin.
Oh. I don't know about that. We'll see. I don't want that.
I don't want that. I don't know about that. I'm not gonna think that.
Yeah, I'm gonna manifest not that.
Because, like, everyone's talking about Dane being like the better person, and it's like, what happens in Onyx Storm that makes you think that?
And also, I don't care. I don't want her to be with Dane.
Yeah.
Yuck.
What if they're together for like half of a book? Because we're not done yet. At least it ends on a cliffhanger.
No.
Okay. Then enjoy whatever that is in your cliffhanger at the end of this book.
We'll find out. Wait, what?
No.
Chapter 34.
I'm really confused.
From the last blurb to this one, now we are reading books by Captain Asher Sorengale. His name has changed now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I was reading this blurb and I was like, I fucking knew it. These bitches is sketchy. Because it says, it has been the experience of my lifetime to spend these months with others who value knowledge just as reverently as I do. But though their intelligence and their wisdom inspire me, their artifice terrifies me. And I was like, so they's a bunch of fake ass bitches. I fucking knew it.
Yeah. You gotta be prepared for anything. And they're over here talking as like about a contract, as if anything and everything is like perfectly fine. She says, who is it? Talia. Is like trying to force herself to talk, not force herself, trying to force herself into their room so that she could talk to Xaden.
Yeah.
And like doesn't know if she should feel upset, she doesn't know if she should be happy, whatever it is. She says, we'll keep it small then. I was so young when he was born, still young when the contract expired. I never thought I'd get to see him again. And now that he's here, you understand, right? And it's like, contract? What contract?
Yeah, that was weird. So it was like a marriage contract between her and Fen. And she only had to be there for a certain amount of time, I guess.
Yeah.
And then she got to leave.
She just had to procure
an heir.
An heir? Yeah.
But so then she left, and obviously she couldn't take Xaden with her, but also like
she didn't fucking try.
Well, and that's like fucked. Like, then don't leave.
Yeah.
You didn't have to leave.
Oh, the contract expired? Okay.
Right, but does that mean you have to leave? Maybe you have to leave his bedroom, but that's still your son, so like...
Yeah.
Seems a little fishy, but whatever.
See, and that's like this part right here where she was like, I was so young when I had him. It's kind of like, to me, it's like what anybody who didn't want to be a mom at one point, but now wants to be a mother.
Yeah.
It's like, not the Jerry Springer shows, but like when you watch like the little court cases where they're just like, oh, the kid doesn't live with me, but I want my kid back. Well, why didn't you take him in the first place? Oh, because of these reasons. Well, that's not a good enough reason.
Right. You just now, why do you want them back all of a sudden?
But now you want them? Yeah. Like, that right there gives me icky vibes. I feel like I don't trust you.
Yeah, I don't.
And then Darna is all up in here like, that's his mother. What would you do, Violet? Not leave my fucking child. That's what I would do. Fuck you,
also,
Darna.
Like, knowing the relationship that I have with some of my family members, I would fully expect Brittany to be a buffer in this type of situation. Like, if one of them just popped up out of nowhere and all of a sudden wanted to have a relationship, fuck that. Yeah. First of all, she wouldn't have to be a buffer. I got this. Like, I'm gonna hurt your feelings again. But,
and if you didn't get it the first time, you'll get it this time.
Yeah, and like Brittany has some family members that she doesn't speak to, and like I would be that buffer for her if I need to be. And the fuck, now, I don't care how you're related. I'm not letting you in. Bye. Yeah. Ugh.
Like, I will do my best to talk to them and find out their whatever, but ultimately it's going to be their decision.
Right. And like, there's a reason that you haven't spoken in years. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And she never bothered to like reach back out to him. That's something else too.
Yeah.
And then she just goes and has kids with
Yeah.
somebody else.
Like, bitch, what? So Gale is also very upset right now about all this because Xaden's upset.
Yeah.
And she's like pacing up and down the beach right now. And Violet's like, you should see if she'll hunt with the others. And he said, feel free to ask. I'll watch. Be sure you're near the water so you can put yourself out when she sets you on fire.
Yeah. There's something else too with all of this. Obviously, we don't know what Segale is thinking, and like we don't know if there's something that she knows more. But Talia made a comment about how like, oh, he risked Arisha, then he loves you. His father would never have.
Yeah.
I wonder if like, I mean, again, Segale might know something, which is why she's pacing up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, Segale doesn't seem the kind of person to like be this freaked out if Xaden's like upset. So there's got to be something more that happened.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe she knows that these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like maybe there was a reason why she had to leave in the middle of the night, but like the way she made it seem here, it was like she loved him so much he never returned that love.
Yeah.
And then like wasn't reciprocating, and like that's kind of the vibe I was getting from here. But like Segale's going up and down the thing, like there's something different about all of this.
Then they start to get a little physical. And then they remember that she has a broken fucking rib.
Yeah, he like turns her or something like that, and it catches her breath.
Yeah. But also through the last chapter and this chapter, we're noticing a new like budding flirtation relationship between Kat and Traeger. And I in my head, Traeger is like the Flyers Riddick. He's the Riddick of the Flyers group.
Yeah.
And they're starting to have like a flirtation kind of thing.
Yeah, because they're holding hands going up and down the
beach. Yeah.
Beach, yeah.
Then at the bottom of page 293, Xaden says, my mother abandoned me, and Violet says, I know. But based on some of the conversations, I'm wondering, like, did she? Like, did she have a choice to leave?
I don't know. Maybe there was a clause in the contract that said absolutely not.
Yeah. But he says something about how she used to make Aaron mint tea. I don't remember where that's at, but it's important. He shares a couple of memories from his childhood with Violet about like she made him chocolate cake for his birthday. She used to make Aaron mint tea for him, like stuff like that, and that becomes important later. Then on page 294, Xaden tries to talk to Segale and tries to talk him into going to eat, or her into going to like hunt and eat. And she like roars at him and walks away. Or flies away, I guess. But she's like, it was really heartbreaking interaction. But then something even more heartbreaking happens because these two
Oh
little
my god.
kids run out. Um, two little boys and their nurse or maid or whoever runs out after them. Um, and then the Talia comes running out, and she's like freaking out because the dragon roared at them and yada yada yada. And then they said, "Mama, you should have seen it roar." Bitch, what? So she has two new kids. She just went back home and started a new family. Like, forget Xaden. Which still makes me, I still feel like maybe there's more to the story. But that would be a slap in the face for sure when you haven't seen your mom. She's like abandoned you for all you know.
Yeah, you don't even know if she's alive or dead, and then all of a sudden you just find her married to somebody else with 2 children.
Yeah. And then he is upset, obviously. And she remembers a thought, or not a thought, but like something he said in the past when he was talking about channeling, and he was like, it's not just the power that's addicting, it's the freedom to not feel. And she can kind of see that on his face right now.
Yeah.
Which is just like, fuck. And I underlined that quote because I was like, I get that. Like I have been in that position where I would like to just not feel.
Yeah.
Before. So
I felt that on a whole other fucking level when I was reading this.
Yeah.
I was like, if I could just get that tattooed to my fucking forehead, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Then she goes to Talia. They are going to dinner, and she goes to Talia and gives Talia a a vial of dried air mint to make tea. Which I was like, that could backfire. That could really piss Xaden off. Because I didn't know what the plan was, but at this point, I was like, ooh, that could backfire. Like,
yeah. To be honest, I probably would be a little annoyed if, like, my significant other wanted to try to, like, make ends meet with both of us this way.
Yeah. Well, and not even that, just like, I mean, yes, that, but like, I think if we were estranged, like if I was estranged from my mother and then she started doing things to try to like remind me, bitch, I was 10. I'm not 10 anymore. Yeah, chocolate cake was my favorite when I was 10. Is it how do you, like, maybe I hate it now. Like,
and that's the thing too. Like, she's like, "Oh, I remember that was your favorite." Oh, sorry, that's like jumping ahead. But
yeah,
it's like Xaden made a good point. He's like, I might not even be the same person she knows.
Right. You don't fucking know me anymore. How do you know that's still my favorite? And then that's the end of chapter 34 is when Violet gives her the tea. So, yeah. Chapter 35, the blurb says, the god of wisdom is the trickiest to placate. Hedion seems to only answer those who do not pray to him. And I was like, yeah, Vi isn't the one being tested on this island.
No.
So we sit down for this really, really fucking awkward family dinner. And Violet is having a traumatic reaction to the silver dome covered dishes that are being brought to the table. Because previously, if you'll remember, they were sitting at a table and covered dishes were brought out. And when the cover was removed, there was a head sitting there. So Violet is sitting there talking under her breath going, don't be a head, don't be a head, don't be a head. And I'm just cracking up because imagine like one of these people having like really good hearing or something and being like,
Yeah.
excuse me? Like, are you all right?
Oh my god. She just it's the 0 to 60 and 3.5. Like, she just needs to calm down for a second.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm talking to myself in that kind of thing, because I honestly, to be quite fair, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what do you mean? There's a fucking head under there. Last time I saw this was a head. Like, fuck you.
Right? But honestly, something worse is going to happen at this dinner. So,
it's fucking chocolate cake.
Yeah, there's chocolate cake. And they talk about the test. And I lost my train of thought for a moment there. They are making like stupid bureaucratic things. They're like, oh, because Kat and Xaden were in like an alliance, for lack of a better term. And they're like dissecting their life choices to decide, like, for their test. Or that's what we think the test is anyway.
Yeah.
And breaking that alliance is unwise. And then they're like, we're gonna go. What it would be really smart if you went ahead and did it and had a child. It's just 4 years, like yada yada yada.
Because like
You
Kat
are
was
lucky
like,
there is not like magic on this island, bitch.
yeah, because there'd be fucking shadows around you right now. But
or lightning.
yeah, I think honestly, like, she would be too stunned to do anything. I think he'd be the reactor in this moment, and that's what she's trying to tell them. She's like, I'm with somebody else. Like, I said yes, he said no. That's final. Like,
Yeah.
there is no coming in between them. Like, good luck. And it'll be fine. It'll be okay.
And so Zane's like, drop the papers. And Violet's like,
The
bitch,
fuck?
what?
Even Kat's face was like, excuse me?
And Mira and Garrick are like, but Eric's just eating his food. He just keeps eating like nothing's
Just having
happening.
a good time. This is like a normal Sunday dinner for him. And then he's like, yeah, make sure you put Violet,
Soren Gale, 2 R's.
Thank you. It's just the 2 R's at the end. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what he sounds like. I don't even know anything. I just know his sass level can rival Terran's any moment of the day. And he's like, and her full name for the papers is Violet Sorengale, 2 R's.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah. He's like, I'm not going to leave the only woman I've ever loved to contract marriage with a woman I do not get along with. Or no. If you think I'm going to leave the only woman I've ever loved to contract marriage with a woman I do not get along with, then the lack of wisdom is yours, not mine. And Talia's like, it's only 3 years and then you'd be back together. Surely the potential of our alliance, of sharing our knowledge, would make that sacrifice worthwhile. Think of Dirandor. And he's like,
fuck Dirandor.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. You cannot contemplate the things or the amount of things I've sacrificed for Dirandor, blah, blah, blah. And then she starts freaking out. I didn't want to leave you, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you could have stayed. Like,
yeah. And then she's like, your father wouldn't let me take you. And he immediately shuts her down. He's like, do not speak of my father.
Yeah.
I am the one who watched him die. You left a child to face down a war you knew was coming on a continent you knew was infested with dark wielders. She goes, I couldn't take you. You're Tyrandor's heir. You could have stayed. You could have been my mother. You could have chosen anything but what you did choose.
Yeah. And she's like, they would have executed me right next to your father. Like, and I thought did what I thought was best. For you, bitch.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just gonna dig the knife in deeper. He goes, I'll admit you've done well for yourself. He needs to be a dowager Duchess of Tyrandor when you can be the wife to a member of the Triumvirate. Mother of two, live on a peaceful beach in a peaceful city on an isle that serves no greater good than its own.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And then Mira's like, yeah, this interview ended before it even began.
Yeah, and then Mira, like, yeah, she's like, she pulls it out and she, like, says the wisdom thing that they're more looking for. She's like, you were never going to, or we proved our lack of wisdom by coming here in the first place. You were never going to share your knowledge or ally yourself with us. And Nairi's like, true. The first true piece of wisdom spoken here, which piques my interest. Now tell me, what do you think of our city? And so I was just like excited by that. I was like, I knew it. It wasn't going to be Violet. Mira was the first to pass the test, for lack of a better term. Although we do find out that maybe that wasn't the test. But there's a lot of character development for Eric here about how he's just fucking unbothered. And then he's like, they're talking about, you don't even know the name of your own continent. And Eric just pulls it out. He's like, it's called, or it's Amaryllis, according to ancient royal records. So I believe Paromish records call it Amelikis. The only thing our kingdoms ever agreed on was calling it the continent after the Great War. Yada, 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 yada. And Violet's like, the fuck, bro? Like, what?
For fuck's sakes, what else is Eric's holding on to?
Yeah. And I'm just loving the character development for him. Because he's like, I prefer keeping my mouth shut and until I understand the rules of whatever game is aiming for my throat. Helps me judge the character and acumen of my opponent, and honestly, I find you lacking, and I'm not sure I want you for an ally. You have no army, and you're stingy with the very thing that should be free to all, knowledge. And she's like, and yet you seek our favor? And he said, me? Nah. I'm just here because Halvin can't control his temper. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And I love this character development for him. But then there's chocolate cake. Chocolate cake. And then Violet starts to pass the real test. Because for some reason, when they bring out the chocolate cake, the Triumvirate and Talia don't have forks and has to ask for them. Talia's been hoarding chocolate for weeks, which means she knew they were coming.
Because Maris in the other isle was like, I'm gonna take a Devarelli approach to this.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't know if it's still your favorite, or if you don't like it anymore, that's all right. I've been away for longer than I was with you. I know tastes can change. I think this is the closest to what we had in Orisha. And he said, I remember, and it's still my favorite. And then she's like, no, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something wrong. And then she's like, something's in the cake. And she stops him from eating it. But Garrick has already eaten a third of his cake. And then he's like, he said we could start. I feel. And then his eyes flutter shut and he collapses, falling toward the table. Which Eric lunges and catches his head before it hits the surface. But he's not breathing.
It was an immediate reaction.
Yeah.
To whatever was in the cake. So there's something in the cake. She was right.
Yeah. And unfortunately for you, friends,
that is the end of this episode.
That is where we end for today. The end of chapter 35 is where we stop.
So, until next time.
Bye.